Maybe you just recently got your ham radio license, or maybe you're thinking about getting your ham radio license. Today, here on HamShackTV, I'm going to introduce you to the fundamentals, the very, very basics of how to become active in the great hobby that we share called amateur radio. Stick around. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Hamshack TV. I'm your host, Josh, AA4WX. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Today's video is brought to you by Gigaparts. And why is it brought to you by Gigaparts? This guy right here, this is one of the best radios on the market for a beginner in amateur radio. It's the Explorer QRZ1. It's a partnership between Gigaparts and QRZ.com. What a wonderful radio. Does VHF and UHF. Super simple to program. You can program via RT Systems software, or you can program it right there from the face of the radio. And maybe that's why you're tuning into this video. Maybe you're not sure how to program. We'll talk about that in a little bit, the fundamentals of it. But go check out gigaparts.com. Use coupon code HamShackTV. You're going to get double rewards points. Or if you want to get rewards plus, that gives you 4 times rewards points. Use coupon code HamShackTV50. That gives you 50% off your first month of Gigaparts Rewards Plus. If you're in the Huntsville, Alabama area, check out their store, 6123 University Avenue in Huntsville. Or again, shop in your socks, gigaparts.com. We appreciate their support of HamShack TV. All right, let's get started. So the simplest thing you can do is to get into the hobby. Now, I'm not talking about licensing or anything like that. The simplest thing that you can do, and probably the most inexpensive thing you can do, is get you an HT. This particular model I'm holding here is the Alunce HA2. What a great radio. There's so many on the market. The Explorer QRZ1 is a great option. You can spend as little as you want, or you can spend as much as you want. The Baofeng, most people are familiar with Baofengs. Those are super cheap on Amazon. But remember, you get what you pay for. They're not the greatest quality radio by any stretch of the imaginations. These QRZ Explorer 1s are very, very good quality and will last you quite some time. All right, so where I want to start with this is I want to start with, let's start with Repeater Book. And the reason I say this is because I want you to understand how you're going to program what knowledge you're going to need in order to program your HT. Or your mobile rig, for that matter. This is not just for HTs. This is for any radio whatsoever that you may use. Repeater Book's a great website to look at. We're going to start with Huntsville, Alabama. Why not? Maybe you're watching from the Huntsville area. This is applicable for anybody anywhere. Just go to repeaterbook.com and enter your city and state that you want to get frequencies for. Now this will you can go on to Repeater Book and you can pull 6 meter repeaters, 2 meter, 440, 220, and so on and so forth, even some 6 meter repeaters here. So let's start out with let's see here. Where is the one I'm looking for? Here it is, N4HSV. This is actually the talk-in frequency for the Huntsville Ham Fest. It's one of the most popular frequencies in the Huntsville, Alabama area. So what you see here is 146.940 with a minus, and then a 100 after it. What does all this mean? Well, let's click on it and open it up. All right. So when you're talking about repeaters, you're doing two things. While you may dial in 146.940 into your radio, you're not going to transmit on 146.940. 146.940 is the receive frequency. It's the one everybody tunes into to listen. So basically what's happening is the repeater is sending out a signal. That signal that the repeater is sending out is on 146.940. In Repeater Book terms, they're calling this the downlink. The downlink. Okay, so what happens? When you're transmitting, what's happening? So you will transmit on what they call the uplink, and that is 146.340. Now, Why is this significant? Almost everywhere on 2 meters, I've never seen an exception to this unless it's a simplex repeater of some sort. You're going to have a either minus 600 kilohertz offset or a plus 600 kilohertz offset. Repeater book will tell you that. It will tell you whether it's a positive offset or a negative offset. So go ahead and put that in your mind. 0.60 megahertz offset. So 0.60 equals 600 kilohertz, right? Okay. And then you've got something called a tone. A lot of people call this a PTL or a PL tone. Some people call this a CTCSS tone. Either way is fine. You say either term, they're going to know what you're talking about. Now, what this tone is a subaudible tone. You can't hear it with your own ears. It's a subaudible tone that your radio will transmit when transmitting. Also, sometimes the repeater transmits a PL tone. So in this case, on the N4HS or HSV repeater in Huntsville, it is a 100 hertz tone. 100 hertz. Now, there's two ways of doing this. My advice is most repeaters do not run tone 24/7. Most of them don't, or at least they don't send the tone. Like your radio's not receiving the tone. If you set it up on a tone encoded, what's going to happen is unless your radio hears that 100 hertz tone, it's not going to let it pass the squelch. So that's important to remember. I would not recommend, unless you see in repeater book or know of knowledge that the tone is on all the time, I would not recommend turning on tone encoding or tone decoding, whatever the right term is. You don't want to. You don't want that that tone squelch. That's the word I'm looking for. You don't want tone squelch turned on all the time, unless you know for sure that it's on all the time. Tone encoding, absolutely. You'll want to do that, and you don't have to. When you're in your radio programming software, you don't necessarily have to do tone encode or anything like that. You can do just tone, or you can do tone encoding, something like that. You don't want it to be on all the time. Now, if a repeater does require a tone, go ahead and program it in as tone. It's a simple, you don't need to do tone encoding or anything like that. Your tone will be 100 hertz in this case. Now, if we go back to the repeater book website, let's take a look. You can see, look at this access. If you don't have the tone in here and the tone is turned on the repeater, you will not break the squelch on the repeater. The repeater will not repeat your signal out. But you see, this one, the 6 meter repeater here is 100 hertz. This 145.230 is 186.2. 145.290 is 100. 100 is very popular. 118.8 is very popular. 103.5 is very popular. Now you scroll down here and you see CC1. Well, what that is a color code. That means this 442.275 is a DMR repeater. It might be a hybrid repeater. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes they don't. That most of the time you don't see that. But if you look over here on modes, you can tell what the repeater is: FM, FM Echo Link, D Star, FM Narrow, FM Fusion, FM IRLP. Amateur television. There's a repeater for amateur television, and you can see on that one 421.250. That is a simplex frequency. Same with this guy up here, 147.505. That's a simplex frequency. So there are simplex repeaters, but the point of this video again is so that you can get a basic knowledge of what all these numbers mean. And that applies to 2 meters as far as that offset I was talking about earlier. It's different when you're in the 440 band. When you're in the 440 band, which is also called 70 centimeters, it is a 5 megahertz up offset. 5 megahertz up. I don't think there's ever a negative offset in the 70 centimeter band. Folks, if I'm wrong about that, get in the comments and let me know. Nicely, please. But for instance, in this case, KK4AI, 442.375, positive offset with a 156.7 hertz tone. So there you go. That tells you everything you need to know. uplink tone and downlink tone, so it is possible that it will do a tone encoding. Your bandwidth is 25 kilohertz, which means it is wide band. It is wide band. This also says that that particular repeater is a closed repeater. We're just using it for example. You can see use is open or closed. There are clubs that close their repeaters to only club traffic, so that is entirely okay. But same here with 2 meters, 25.0 kilohertz wideband. So if your radio does ask you about the bandwidth, that's what you want. You want wideband. So there you go. That is the absolute basics of programming your radio, the terminology that you need to know in order to even get started in your radio. Now, I will say a lot of manufacturers like Baofeng and others, they have very, very abbreviated menus. So either one of two things: study your manual or use software from RT Systems. RT Systems, you can get that at Gigaparts. They have that available via download. A lot of times radios are very, very picky about what programming cable you use. Most of the time they are. I have a drawer full of programming cables, probably 2 or 3 TYTs, several Baofengs, ICOM, Kenwood, Yaesu. The list goes on and on. So check out those programming softwares from RT Systems. Some of them are available at Gigaparts. If you can't find it at Gigaparts, go directly to rtsystems.com. All right, guys, again, thank you for watching. I appreciate your support of HamShackTV. Don't forget to please check out Gigaparts. They've actually got a 5-pack of these QRZ Explorer ones. Explorer QRZ ones. So maybe you have a Skywarn team or some sort of a team that you need to hand radios out, or maybe your family's full of hams. This is a great deal, a great opportunity. Check them out, gigaparts.com. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you in the next video, 73, AA4WX, WSCB 690.